Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Yesterday we were at chapter 47, and today we wanted to sing this song which Uddhav sang, paying obeisances to the gopis. So Karuna will kindly do that. And let me stop the share. Oh, it's here. No. She can't do it. Oh, I see. Yeah, while we are waiting. Okay. So
श्री उद्धव की जय, उद्धव गीत की जय। एता परं तनो वृतो भुवि गोपवद्वो गोविन्द एव निखिलात्मनि रुधभावा वाचन्ति यद्भव धियो मुनयो वयं च किं ब्रह्म जन्माभिरनन्त कथा रसस्य क्वेमाश्रित्यो वनचरी व्यभिचारदुष्टा कृष्णे क्व चैषा परमात्मनि रुधभाव नन्विषरो नो भजतो विदुषोऽपि साक्षात् श्रेयस्तन्यगदराजैवोपयुक्तः नायं श्रियो अङ्गो नितान्तरते प्रसाद स्वर्योषितां नलिनगन्ध रुचां कुतोऽन्या रसोत्सवेऽस्य भुज दण्डगृहीतकण्ठ लब्धा शीर्षं याहुदाकात् प्रजवल्लभिनाम् आसमहोच्चारणा रेणुजुषामहं श्याम् वृन्दावने किमपि गुन्म लौतषधीना यादुस्त्यजं स्वजनम् आर्यपथं च हित्वा भेजुर्मुकुन्द पदवीं श्रुतिभिर्विमृग्य या वै श्रियर्चितम् अजदिभिराप्तकामे योगेश्वरेरपि यदात्मनि रसगोष्ठ्या कृष्णस्य तद्भगवतः चरणारविन्दम् न्यस्तं स्तनेषु विजहु परिरभ्यतापम् वन्दे नन्दव्रजस्त्रीणां पादरेणुमभीक्ष्णनश यासां हरिकथोद्गीतं पुनति भुवनत्रयम्। श्री उद्धव गीत की जय।
hey, beautiful. Thank you so much. So he sang these simple coward women who wander about the forest seemingly spoiled by improper behavior are the greatest of all persons on this earth because they have attained the perfection of love for Govind. Their pure love is hankered after by those who fear material existence, by great sages, and by ourselves as well. What is the use of taking birth as a high-class Brahmin, or even as a Lord Brahma himself? In the Ras dance, the Lord embraced the gopis. This was not even achieved by the goddess of fortune. or the Lord's other consorts in the spiritual world, let alone the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the lotus flower. Let me be fortunate enough to become one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them, thus blessing them with the dust of their lotus feet. So this is incredible glorification of the gopis. So let's look at chapter 48.
Bhavat Vida Mahabhaga Nisveya Arha Sattamaha Shreyas Kame Nityam Deva Swarthana Swadvaha. Translation: Exalted souls like you are the true objects of service and the most worshipable authorities for those who desire the highest good in life. Demigods are generally concerned with their own interests, but saintly devotees never are.
Yeah, amazing verse. Demigods are generally concerned with their own interest. So we were discussing that quite a bit today. But saintly persons never are. They always live for others. So, prayers of Akrur. Krishna visited Trivakra, that's Kubja, and enjoys with her. And then he visits Akrur. The Lord sends Akrur to Hastinapur to satisfy the Pandavas. So this is the summary of the chapter. After hearing Uddhav, Krishna together with Uddhav visited Trivakra, who was disturbed by lust for the Lord. Her home had opulent furniture, fine beds and chairs. Trivikra was the three-bended fawn, or Kubja, who the Lord straightened up simply by putting his feet on her feet and lifting her chin with his fingers. So with her girlfriends, she graciously received Krishna by worshipping him. Uddhav also received a seat of honor, since he was a saintly person. But he simply touched it and sat on the floor. Krishna quickly made himself comfortable on a bed and pulled Trivikra to him for enjoyment. By smelling Krishna's lotus feet, Trivikra became free from lust. Krishna enjoyed with her simply because she offered some ointment to him. So the Lord fulfills desires of his devotees, especially when he comes in the form of Krishna. Very unique. Trivikra begged the Lord to stay with her for a few days. Krishna promised to do so, but he left with Uddhav for his residence. The Supreme Lord is ordinarily difficult to approach. One who has properly worshipped him and chooses the benediction of mundane sense gratification is certainly of poor intelligence, for he is satisfied with the insignificant result. So we can worship the Lord nicely, but then if we ask for something ridiculous, some material benefit, then what is the use? We'll get it. It'll be temporary benefit. But if we're approaching the Lord, you might as well approach him for the highest benediction, love of him, prema bhakti. Then you get everything. Just like a 50-pound note includes £1, £5, £10, and £20 note. So then Krishna went to Akrur's house with Balaram and Uddhav. Akrur honored the three of them by bowing down and presenting them with suitable sitting places. He then worshipped them in accordance with scriptural rules. After pouring doing the Abhishek, he put that same water on his head, and then he presented them with gifts of fine clothes or aromatic sandalwood paste, flower garlands, excellent jewelry. After worshipping the two lords, Krishna Balaram, he bowed his head to the floor. He then began to massage Lord Krishna's feet, placing them on his lap, and with his head bowed in humility, he addressed Krishna and Balaram as follows. So Akrur's prayers, he said, "We are fortunate that you killed Kamsa, ending our suffering. You are the original cause of the universe. You also enter it. Thus, one can perceive you in various forms. You create, maintain, and destroy the universe by the three modes, but you are not entangled by them. Since you are the original source of all knowledge, what could ever cause you to be bound by illusion? For you are, there is neither birth in a literal sense, nor any duality. Therefore, you never undergo bondage or liberation. And if you appear to, it is only because of your desire that we see you in that way, or simply because of our lack of discrimination. You gave us the original path of the Vedas, and when this path is obstructed, you come as an incarnation. You have now appeared to relieve the earth's burden. To your devotees, you give everything they desire, even your own self. Today, my home has become most fortunate because you have entered it. Please cut the ropes of our illusory attachment for home, wife, children, etc. His prayers are really phenomenal because they very much apply to us. Everybody's attached to this world, to different relatives and friends and possessions, body. So we beg the Lord, please let us become attached to you. And in that way, we can become detached from the craziness of this world. So very, very amazing prayers to remember. Krishna's humility, he was pleased with Akru's prayers. He told him that since Akru was in fact their paternal uncle, Krishna and Balaram should be the recipients of his protection and mercy, as they were like his sons. So this is, the Lord is very humble. When he comes to this world, he does not portray himself as a supreme Lord. He regards himself as subordinate to his elders, equal to his friends, and he gives mercy to who are subordinate to him. Lord Krishna then praised Akrura as a saint and a purifier of the sinful. Exalted souls like Akrura are the true objects of service and most worshipable authorities for those who desire the highest good in life. Demigods are generally concerned, this is the verse that we were reading, with their own interests, but saintly persons never are. No one can deny that there are holy places with sacred rivers, or that the demigods appear in deity forms made of earth and stone. But those purify the soul after a long time, whereas saintly persons purify just by being seen. So having bath in the Ganga, it will purify one, but it'll take a long time. You have to bathe for a long time, every day, for long periods of time. But when you see a saintly person, the purification is immediate. Why? Because the saintly person is very powerful, full of bhakti, potent, very potent. The association of a devotee can completely change one's life. One moment's association can completely change one's life. And vice versa, one moment of bad association, one moment of association with a bad person can completely destroy somebody. Like we were discussing earlier with the children, one moment's association with Duryodhana destroyed the saintly or the righteous Kern. Didn't take much, but that's the power of association. Association with a crazy person can have a devastating effect. Associating with a holy person can have a liberating effect. Then Krishna requests Arjuna. He asked him, Akru, to visit Hastinapur. Of course, Krishna knows everything's going on, what's going on. But he says to Akru, go and find out how the Pandavas, who have now been deprived of their father, how they were faring. When their father passed away, the young Pandavas were brought with their anguished mother to this capital city by King Dhritarashtra, and that they were living there now. Indeed, wicked-minded Dhritarashtra, the son of Ambika, has come under the control of his wicked sons and brother-in-law as well, Shakuni. And therefore that blind king was not treating his brother's sons fairly. Krishna asked the crew to go and see whether Dhritarashtra was acting properly or not. He was a king after all. Kings meant to be neutral. Even if his son or family members misbehave, the king is supposed to punish them. Otherwise, necessary arrangements can be made to help Krishna's dear friends. Thus, fully instructing a crew, Krishna then returned to his residence accompanied by Lord Shankarshan and Uddhav. So that's the end of chapter 48. So this is a little bit of idea of Krishna and a crew. Any questions or any comments, please? Anybody like to? Oh, hang on a sec. Madhusudan Prabhu, you here? Okay.
He is here, but I don't think he's logged on. 1 minute, I'll take the left.
Okay. No, I just checking if he had sent me the instructions. He hasn't. So anything you'd like to share, Madhusudan Prabhu?
1 minute, I'll take the left iPad to him. 1 minute.
Yes. Haribol?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Sorry, yeah, about this, I didn't know that we would be doing 48 today somehow.
Okay, no, that's okay.
But it's interesting as I was reading through, because I know there's, as far as the instruction sort of goes, what I picked out from this chapter is that this example of Krishna going to Trivakra, she was a hunchback, wasn't she? And then she, Krishna had made her beautiful, and then she was desiring all this lust, but Krishna somehow it takes that away from her, that desire, in a way, by being with her, although she is. But this is also in the purport, it explains that how what not to do when you're approaching Krishna, actually. And in the same way as like Arjun, there's a comparison with her approach to Krishna in a sort of a lusty way. And then Krishna doesn't actually abide by and sort of says, yeah, I will fulfill this somehow. But in the same way, there's a comparison with Arjuna. Arjuna, in the beginning, wanted to disobey Krishna's kind of command that, I don't want to follow my dharma. I want to just sit back and do nothing. So in the purport, it says, Arjuna also considered a pure devotee, yet by initially disobeying Krishna's instructions to fight, he also showed an example of what not to do. However, such bad examples always have happy endings in the blissful association of the absolute truth. So in one sense, it turns out blissfully in favor, but so-called bad example like Arjun trying to disobey, not to fight, and then in the same way, Trivakra here, all trying to approach Krishna in a lusty way, but then Krishna doesn't know. So it's like in bad example, what not to do as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point. Thank you. Very good
Okay,
example.
yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments? Okay, so we can go to Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, 48th chapter ki Jai, 10th canto ki